Yeah, Hare Krishna, and welcome to the Bhagavad-gita course. So, last time we finished chapter 6, and today we will start with chapter 7. So, I thought that we should read through the whole chapter, all the verses without the purport. And then I have a study guide from Bhaktivedanta Academy, so that also summarizes the chapters very nicely. Okay, so let's get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There we have it. I will share the screen. I think it's easier for everybody to see. So this chapter is called Knowledge of the Absolute. So it's chapter 7. According to the study guide, and also Prabhupada's purports, this chapter is actually the essence of, not only this chapter, but these are the middle chapters in the Bhagavad-gita, which are the essence of the Bhagavad-gita. So, okay, so let's start here. Text number 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pṛthā, how by practice yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Text number 2. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Text number 3. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Text number 4. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, altogether these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Text 5. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities, who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Text 6. All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Text 7. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Text 8. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Text 9. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat of in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Text 10. O son of Pṛthā, now that I am the original seed, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Text 11. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. Text number 12. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Text 13. Deluded by the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Text 14. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Text 15. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Text 16. O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Text 17. Of those, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Text 18. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Text 19. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Text 20. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Text 21. I am in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Text 22. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Text 23. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Text 24. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Text 25. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Text 26. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Text 27. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born in delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. Text 28. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Text 29. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Text 30. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So that was the entire chapter 7. And then I thought that I will read the summary of chapter 7 from the study guide. Chapter 7, knowledge of the Absolute. Okay. So in the 7th chapter here, Lord Krishna explains that he is the supreme truth, he is the supreme cause, and the sustaining force of everything, both material and spiritual. Advanced souls surrender unto him in devotion, whereas impious souls divert their minds to other objects of worship. The first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-gita, they are dealing with karma yoga, and then now these 6 middle chapters, they are dealing with Bhakti-yoga, and the last 6 chapters are dealing with jñana-yoga. So we have a previous acharya in this disciplic succession. So his name is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he is explaining why Bhakti-yoga is placed in between karma and jnana in the Bhagavad-gita. So he's saying that the Bhakti-yoga is placed between karma and jñana-yoga because bhakti is has a confidential nature. It's like, how to explain confidential nature? It's like, it's not revealed to everybody. It's a little bit secret because bhakti is superior to karma and jnana, by which it is able to give life to the other two. So karma and jnana are actually dependent on bhakti. And also that bhakti is something very rare. And he's also saying that because since karma and jnana are useless without bhakti, so that's why karma and jnana are presented in the Bhagavad-gita. The karma and the jnana presented in Gita, they are actually mixed with bhakti. And that's why they are acceptable in the Bhagavad-gita. Yeah, this is like a big discussion, the relationship between karma, jnana, and bhakti. It can be analyzed from so many different angles. This is one angle, that bhakti is confidential, but another aspect of bhakti is that karma and jnana cannot control Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because you have the pious person, he believes in God, and or he's into spiritual life, and his actions are according to he's following the rules of the scriptures. So he's a pious person. You can say he's a karmi, and then you have the jnani who is more elevated in detachment. So he's looking for liberation. So these are actually very pious persons, spiritual persons, and so the only problem is that they have the wrong attitude towards God. That's their only problem. But if they slightly adjust the attitude by understanding that nothing, not how do you say, that their karma or their jnana becomes transcendental. If they understand that karma and jnana becomes transcendental, it turns into bhakti. If they add Krishna into their lives, so then, because they are very, very slightly, pinpointing the essence of spiritual life, if they add Krishna into their karma and jnana, so then it will turn into bhakti. So it's very, very close to it. It's just a slight adjustment to their attitude towards the Supreme Lord. So the jnani may be a little bit like trying to be independent still from the Lord, and also the karmi, he's also slightly independent from the Lord. So, but the bhakta or the devotee is like understanding his relationship to the Supreme Lord. So that's why. So then he surrenders like that. And Yeah, so that's why the karmi and the jnani, they can't control Krishna, because only the bhakta can control Krishna. The devotee can control Krishna. So that's why they still remain a little bit mixed with material, false ego and material desires. And then there is a purport to Bhagavad Gita 8:28. Or do you have any questions on this, or do you want to add something to this? Anybody?
Good so far.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so in the purpose to Bhagavad Gita 8, chapter 8, verse 28, Prabhupada is writing that chapters 7 through 12 are the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings for the middle 6 chapters, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters, in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, and speculations, etc. For one can achieve all the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so, okay. So now I'm going to summarize the verses. So they are like, actually, Bhagavad Gita verses, they come always in groups of different themes. So the way we are studying the Bhagavad Gita now, it's chronological order. So that is one course. And then the next course is actually to study them thematically, to study Bhagavad Gita thematically. But this is the chronological order, which is recommended. This is the way one should study, first chronologically, and then second time you study it is thematically. So the verses 1 to 3, the theme is how knowing Krishna by hearing from him. And verses 4 to 14, they speak about that Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material energies, and he is the controller of the 3 modes. So that's more like, you can say, the Ishvara aspect, or the God aspect of the Lord. Verses 15 to 19, they are about 2 classes of people, the pious and the impious. So pious means a person who follows the scriptures, the rules of the scripture, and impious is a person who is not following, or they may know about it, but they don't care, or they are not controlled enough. It can be so many different reasons why somebody is not following the scriptures. May also be that they are ignorant about it and they don't care. And then verses 20 to 23 is about demigod worshippers, and verses 24 to 28, it's about impersonalists. And then, so impersonalists are those transcendentalists who are considering that the Supreme Lord is how do you say, a light or an energy, but not a person. So those are usually called Brahmavadis, and even the Gyanis can also be in that category. And then verses 29 to 30 are about the Yoga Mishra Bhakta. So that's how the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, is divided into these different themes. Okay, so now we are going to read. I don't think we can read verses 1 to 3, but these verses were about knowing Krishna by hearing from him. So let's see if we can, how far we get today by starting with 7:1. So I will share the screen here. So Krishna is saying in Sanskrit, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Maya sakta manaparta yogam junjan madashraya asangshayang samagrangmang yata gyasyasi yachrino. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna is saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pṛthā, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Purport. In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyotir or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge of Krishna and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge, beyond any doubt. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and the manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. So Shravanam means to hear about Krishna. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, touch Shrinu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as followed. So here we have some long Sanskrit here. Shrimvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravanam Kirtanam Ridanta Sto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam Nasta Prajesho Badresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamalobhadayas Chaje Chetaitar Anavidham Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasanno Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantis Chidyante Sarva Sangshayaha Kshiyante Shasya Karmani Drishta Evat Manishvare. So these are verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which are very, very much famous and very much studied by devotees again and again, because here in these verses there is actually the process of purification, how one can purify oneself and how one can come to how you can cross over the false ego. This is the crucial, most important understanding, how you can overcome the false ego. So then it begins like this: to hear about Krishna from Vedic literature, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad-gita, it's in itself righteous activity. And from one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee, who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes free from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti-yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asankshayam samagram, understanding the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. End quote. So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakayam Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so is there any particularly which you would like to that I will speak a little more on, which was not so clear?
No, not really. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just turn on the mic if there is something which you would like to
Absolutely.
to ask about. So I go back to this verse 7:1. So remember that this is about these verses is about how to know Krishna by hearing from him. So Krishna he's starting this chapter with the words. Let me see here. Yeah, hear from me. He's saying that. Now here he's saying to Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So this is something which, the whole world, so many religious people, they have so many doubts, even if they believe in God, but they have a lot of many doubts and many questions, which unfortunately remain throughout their whole life. They may not get the answers to simple questions or very complicated philosophical questions. So that is very unfortunate. And in chapter 4, Krishna is explaining why is it that the knowledge gets lost? Because it's just with a matter of time, so then the knowledge gets lost. And Prabhupada, he has given this name, Bhagavad-gita, as it is, which means that if we are going to learn the Bhagavad-gita, understand the Bhagavad-gita, and teach the Bhagavad-gita, so then there is one important thing which we should avoid to do, and that is to speculate. It's not about our, showing off our intelligence. That's not the way we can understand the Bhagavad-gita by, trying to show off like, oh, I think Krishna means this and he meant that and like that. No. In order to understand the Bhagavad-gita, we have to go the humble path, and the humble path is explained in chapter 434, where one has to listen to the spiritual master and submissively ask some questions and render service to the spiritual master. And then the spiritual master will give the knowledge, not only like intellectual knowledge, but realized knowledge. So that comes through the service and the application. And the sign of a person who has that knowledge is actually that he is now transcended the dualities. There is no hate and there is no attachment in that person. And there is no illusion, there is no material illusion, and he remains there. So he will see everybody as part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. He will see everyone has a relationship to the Supreme Lord. So this is how one can come to the self-realized knowledge. It is the path of humility. And also in the chapter 8, Krishna is also saying that the first sign of knowledge is to be humble. And in chapter 2, what does humility mean? So he's saying that in chapter 2, he's speaking that we are actually not the body, meaning body is the false ego, but we are an eternal spark, a part and parcel, a spiritual spark, a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, Krishna is explaining in different chapters of the Bhagavad-gita what is our constitution in relationship to the Supreme Lord, but also in relationship to the material world. Because our relationship to the material world is actually a very complicated one. And it's so complicated that since time immemorial, we have been in a knot, like, closely attached to this material world. And we are bound in those knots by karma, and the very, how do you say, the very cause of the karma is actually the false ego. So if we want to be free from all of that, because if we are here today, it's because we are sick and tired of the material world, and we want to find a solution to the suffering. We want to find a solution to entanglement in the material world. We know that there is something beyond the material world. We can feel it in every cell of our body that there is something beyond, but I can't see beyond. So I want a method how to see beyond. So the method which is offered by this Bhakti-yoga process of Krishna consciousness, the most powerful one is to chant Hare Krishna mantra and offer the vegetarian food to Lord Krishna and associate with devotees. Serve the spiritual master. It's very simple. Go to pilgrimage, the holy places where Krishna has been. It said 1,000, I think it's like one year in here in the West doing our spiritual practice is like, if you go to 1 year to the holy places, it's like 1,000 years of spiritual advancement. It's much more powerful. Of course, we can't stay there 1 year, but if we go there, even 1 week, then it's so much more powerful. So anyway, so this practice of Krishna consciousness As I started that these spiritual persons or religious people in the world, they may have many doubts, but those doubts will be clarified if we practice the proper practice. And year by year, if we continue practicing, we will see how much, if we look back, we will see how much we have actually advanced in knowledge. We will be very surprised how much we can advance in knowledge, self-realized knowledge, and have those amazing moments when we realize that we are actually not the material body, and very wonderful moments when we can really feel in our heart that Krishna is here. Or let's say if we go to a kirtan where devotees are chanting, that's one of the most powerful ways to very quickly realize that I'm not this body, but also that we realized I have a close relationship with the Supreme Lord, and through that transcendental sound vibration from the Hare Krishna mantra, in a group of devotees, we can experience the ecstasy, the true ecstasy, which actually means to what's the real life is, which we are actually not in our daily. We don't have that as a daily experience, but the real life is actually to be in constant ecstasy. That is the real life of the soul. But since the soul is in illusion and trying to chase after material sense gratification in the material world, because he's always like looking for this ecstasy, he's looking for happiness because it is his nature to be happy, but in the material world he can't be happy. So then he's desperately trying to find happiness. Some people try to find it in drugs and alcohol, intoxication. Other people in overindulgence in sex and pornography, and others are overindulging in watching movies, and others in gambling and hunting money, and so there are like so many different ways where one is desperately trying to get that experience. Ultimately, what we are always hunting is just that connection with the Supreme Lord, with Krishna. We're all the time looking for Krishna. We're looking for that happiness in the connection, in the yoga with Krishna. But if we try to find it in the material world, we will just get frustrated and become more and more degraded and more perverted, because the senses can never be satisfied. It doesn't matter how much we try, or the mind will never be satisfied through material sense gratification. So the importance is very important that we get that experience of that complete ecstatic experience and dive into it, so that when we will understand the difference between what is material sense gratification and what is the real happiness, the real bliss, which is actually in Krishna consciousness. And that is Krishna, that although he comes, we may not see him when we are singing Hare Krishna with other devotees. We may not see him. Sometimes some people can, but those are very advanced. But for those who are like not so advanced, generally they just feel this ecstasy in the heart. So that is actually also Krishna, because he can come in the form of a transcendental sound vibration. And if we touch the Bhagavad-gita, then we also feel this is a person, because it's non-different from Krishna. If we read Bhagavad-gita every day, we will also feel this is, we will feel very uplifted. Like Prabhupada, he said many times, you have to read my books, because if we don't read on a daily basis, like he wanted his disciples to read 1 hour, 2 hours per day. And it makes a big difference in consciousness. If we read 1 hour per day, let's say, or even half an hour, it will elevate the consciousness so much. So that is something very important to be done on a daily basis. So then the more we expose ourselves to Krishna in different forms, then the more we will feel lighter. Because the material world is like really sinking us down all the time through the clouds of material nature, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, some little bit of mode of goodness, and then it's just like pulling us down all the time. So there has to be like a powerful practice so that one can burst through those dark clouds which are, hanging over our consciousness, so that we can always understand I'm a spirit soul, I feel happy, I feel free, I feeling that I'm in connection with the Lord. So that's why we have a very strong practice. We chant 2 hours every day, preferably in the morning. And many devotees nowadays, if they live, separately like that, far away from a temple, then they meet through the Zoom and they chant 2 hours every morning together, which is extremely uplifting. And they have many Zoom meetings like we have now, speaking about Krishna like that. So in that association, one will make a quick spiritual advancement. So yeah, so that's about today's verse, that by practicing yoga in full consciousness of Krishna, with the mind attached to Krishna, one can know him in full, and then all the doubts about who is God and all of those things will be removed. Yeah. Do we have any comments from my husband? I don't know if he's available right now. Yeah.
I'm here. I think you are speaking very nicely. The whole, this chapter itself is like something that we were reading on Sankirtans. We didn't read the Krishna book, so we can't overemphasize that if we don't see the Krishna in our everyday life, then it's very difficult to see even further. So basically, like, we should be able to understand, like you were reading there, how he's existing amongst the man, how he's existing amongst the woman, and like that, and even the nature. So when we start to see like that, then it's not getting any more so sentimental sense that it's either or. By it means that we will see Krishna in everyday life. Of course, emphasize, like now coming from Vrindavan, in those places it's always a little on the transcendental lilas there, but we are not always in middle of that kind of transcendental lilas. So we could see even how Krishna is the computer we are using in the work, how Krishna is operating even in the toothbrush, what we are using. And of course, it doesn't give exactly the same taste than meeting him directly, like chanting Mahamantra, living in the holy Dharma and like that. But it's still awareness of him in every kind of a situation. Then somebody may ask that, but I mean, if I drive on the traffic light and I start to consider, how Krishna is now existing here, and then ultimately, crash may happen. Is that many times the daily routine has to be done how we have done that, and then later on, like in the evening, if we have an opportunity, like you said, on Zoom or face to face or something, to discuss what does it mean. Like, for example, that traffic light is that he's also the rules of this world. And the rules are to keep the order in any action. Like here in India, you basically don't see the traffic lights very often, so it's a chaos.
Mm.
But everything can be seen from that angle, and that is increasing the awareness that we call Krishna consciousness,
Mm.
even in life.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Jalal, do you have some thoughts about what has been
Yeah, I
said?
have a question. You mentioned not only in this lecture, but also in the previous one, and I also read in the Bhagavad-gita that Krishna is in our hearts. Is that in the literal sense? And would meditating on the heart chakra give direct experience of Krishna in that sense? Or yeah, is
Yeah,
it the literal or is it more poetic?
yeah, it's not in the blood pump. It's
Mm.
not there where he is. He's in the heart chakra, as you said.
Mm.
Yeah. So meditating on him, remembering that he's in the heart is a very good meditation. We can experience it sometimes when we hear a very like peaceful, quiet voice giving us some good advice. It may speak 1, 2, maximum 3 times the same thing. Then he gets quiet. So he's actually it's the super soul. It's a Vishnu form expansion of Lord Krishna. So he's guiding us, but he's not how do you say? He's not forcing us to follow his advice. He's just a well-wishing friend in the heart who is guiding us, and he can tell us, this will happen or that will happen if you don't do this and that. Or maybe he just says, maybe most of the time he may just say, do this. And then we may think, no, why should I? And then later on we regret because it was right. This what we sometimes can call intuition, but it is actually the super soul, the intelligence. So intelligence and super soul are very closely connected. So the more we are covered by the lower modes, so then the less we can hear the super soul. Like, let's say if someone takes intoxication, generally they do it because they have authority problems and they don't want to hear God's voice in the heart. They just want to like cover it up because the voice which they are hearing is usually also a bad conscience. They are feeling bad about what they are doing wrong. So then in order to get some peace from the super soul is actually to buy intoxication. So super soul can also make us feel bad, like really, really bad when we have done something which is wrong. But then we have to just embrace that. We can understand God is not satisfied with me now because I have done something wrong. So then we should take the humble position and say, okay, please forgive me and please guide me. How can I do it in a better way? So, and then he is immediately ready to help. So he's actually coming with us. So because in the spiritual world, we don't have the super soul in the heart because we have Krishna is there outside. We don't need that guidance we have. We are like self-realized persons. But here he's coming with each and every single little living entity. It doesn't matter in which body they are. Super soul is always coming with. And he's just waiting for the moment when the soul will cry out for help, for guidance, for the moment when the soul is turning to him and saying, please help me, please guide me. Do you exist? If you exist, then show me a sign that you do exist. Like that. So he's just waiting for that moment. And then he will start guiding from within the heart. So it can be like for us it would be like a very painful situation. Imagine you have some children, Yalal, and if they would turn their back on you and you would be watching all the time the things which they are doing wrong, and but you can't interfere. You just have to witness what they're doing wrong. and then, you know, and then one day they will wake up and say, okay, I'm sorry, Daddy, can you now guide me, please? But during that whole period when the children are doing something wrong, I mean, for us, it would be extremely painful. So imagine all the living entities in the material world, which are most of them on the wrong path, but he's just witnessing and waiting for the day when they turn to him. So that is the super soul, and that also shows how incredibly much he loves every single soul, that he's ready to go with them, even if they are, you know, a small little ant in the forest, or, you know, a tiger, a lion, under all those illusions. It's like a fever. It's an illusion. We are not the tiger, or the ant in the forest, or the human being. But we so much want to have that experience of being all of that. So then he's just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then at one point, when he sees, okay, this person is ready now, so then he expands himself as the guru. So then he comes as the guru. So his Chaitya guru is in the heart, and then when he expands, he comes as the guru who is going to, because we can't hear him really. So then as the guru, he's going to teach and help us to advance further. So this whole creation is actually meant for us to come closer to him. But it has to be in a real way, not in a false way. We have to really want to let go of our material illusion, and then like that he can help us. So we have to let go of the material world and become attached to him. So the super soul is a very, very important manifestation of the Lord. So we can definitely have a lot of communication with him, but it has to be confirmed by the guru that, you know, yes, the super soul has told you this and that. It has to be confirmed by guru or sadhu or shastra. Shastra means the scriptures. So otherwise it can just be our mind also. So we shouldn't follow our mind. If we follow our mind, we will take birth again and again and again, because, you know, by following the mind, that has been the result for millions of lifetimes. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Jalal.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very important question, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you already said, but the enthusiasm what we hear in English, it comes theos in, which means like that the godly inspiration already inside us. So that's something separate from the mundane. It's like, you know, that when we do the right things towards to the Lord, he also becomes very inspired, because he's all the time observing what we do. And when we do those wrong things, then we hear this kind of a, like people are using drugs, they engage to the illicit affairs and like that. So then we hear this moral nagging there. But like my wife said, unfortunately, we are not on the level that we could hear all the time. So therefore, the guru comes as external manifestation of the super soul. But the normal innocent pious person have this kind of a intuition which helps him. And we should always, like, how would I say, very sensitive to hear. My mother used to always speak about the inner voice, and our necessity and need to listen like that. So it's actually very, very important. But in order to have a more steadily like that, our senses should be controlled by the higher intelligence. So the common sense, which is mind, is surrounded by different senses, and if those senses are guiding us, then we can't hear the super soul voice easily. I can give just a short example. When I was an unit chief in military, we had like 200 soldiers who came once in time, and they were also taught by the psychologists and doctors different things. So then somebody made the question that I don't feel good when I go my holiday and I drink alcohol and all that. So what to do? And then the psychology complete atheist said, drink more, that the voice will go down. You don't anymore hear that. So that's atheism. So we are supposed to drink less and try to be in touch with super soul. Many times it mixes, like she said already nicely, that with the mind. So therefore, we confirm that it was really super soul which the guru is the one to confirm that, yeah, this is really super soul voice, not our mind.
Yeah, then there are many false gurus out there also, like, I heard that this Sadhguru, I mean, he may give some good feeling, but he has never read the Bhagavad-gita and he doesn't belong to any parampara. So it's important to, I mean, the guru is supposed to be closely connected, so closely connected to Krishna that he can actually hear Krishna's advice, and then he can connect to the super soul in other people's heart, and know what is going on there, and know exactly which advice to give and like that. So when we say guru, it's not just anybody, but they have to be a real guru who is actually belonging to a tradition, a bona fide tradition, like a real tradition. And also he himself must have been a disciple. He's a disciple to some other guru, not that, some people, they just make up something, read Vedas a little bit here, a little bit there, and make something up. No, that's not the guru we are talking about. So there are certain how do you say, criterias which they have to fulfill in order to be called actually a bona fide spiritual master. Yeah, but when you find such a person, then you will very much feel how much this person can guide you nicely, because it's a cooperation between Krishna in the heart and the spiritual master, and you are in between, and then they are both, cooperating very nicely for your spiritual advancement. Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry we went over time again, but I think this was a very nice discussion and very important also. Yeah. So if there is nothing else, otherwise for next Monday, if there are more thoughts like that, so then you can just bring those. But I think we need to end here. Jai. All glories to the Bhagavad-gita and Srila Prabhupada and the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.